All right, today we're diving into a really powerful concept, something we're calling the attraction flip. It's all about how a pretty simple change in how you see yourself can completely revolutionize the dynamics of attraction. Seriously, think about it for a second. Have you ever had that happen? The moment you just stop trying so hard, you stop looking for that approval, the whole energy just flips on its head. It's a feeling a lot of us have experienced, but most of us don't really get what's going on under the hood. So let's break it down. So here's our game plan. We're going to start with the main idea, the attraction flip itself. Then we'll build on that with 4 absolutely essential pillars. And finally, we'll tie it all together with the final truth behind this entire philosophy. Okay, so what is this flip we're talking about? Well, at its core, it's about moving from being reactive, constantly bending and folding based on what someone else does, to being completely grounded in who you are. I mean, just look at this contrast. It is night and day. On one side, you've got the guy who's always adjusting, always mirroring her reality, hoping to get some approval. But on the other side, you have the man whose reality is his own. He's not getting tossed around by emotional storms. He's the lighthouse. And that difference is everything. This quote just nails it, doesn't it? The source here is arguing that real, deep attraction, it isn't something you earn by being a people pleaser. It's actually drawn to a strength, a core of self that is absolutely unshakable. This idea is the bedrock for everything else we're going to cover. And that brings us right to our first pillar, emotional stability. This is all about you learning to be the calm in the center of the storm, instead of just another leaf getting blown around in the wind. Man, this puts it perfectly. When you're an emotional mirror or just reflecting back whatever mood she's in, you actually come across as incredibly unstable. And what this source suggests is that the thing that's truly deeply magnetic is the exact opposite. It's that solid, steady emotional state she knows she can count on. So how do you actually do this? Look, this is not about being cold or a robot. It's about acknowledging her feelings without just soaking them up like a sponge. You can listen, you can absolutely understand, but you don't get swept away by the wave. You stay rooted. And what happens is your calm becomes the anchor she's actually drawn to, not the chaos she creates. Okay, so once you've got that emotional stability dialed in, what's next? Well, that leads us straight into pillar 2. And this is all about what drives you from the inside, your purpose and your value. You gotta pay attention to this one because this distinction is a total game changer. When your attention is a choice, something that's freely given by a man who has his own mission, it is incredibly valuable. But if it feels like an obligation, like it's coming from someone who's made her his entire universe, it's worthless. What this really means is your purpose, your mission, your goals, your passions, that has to be the loudest thing in your life. It has to come first. When she sees that she is a welcome, wonderful part of your world, but not the center of it, attraction just skyrockets. You don't have to sit there and list all your good qualities. Your focus and your drive do all the talking for you. All right, pillar number 3. This one is all about action, not words. Let's talk about unbreakable boundaries. This might sound super obvious, but this is where so many people trip up. You can talk about your standards all you want, but they're just suggestions until the moment they get tested and you actually stand by them. That action is what gives them all their power. So how's it done? The source lays out this incredibly direct 4-step process. A clear line gets crossed. Your response isn't a long-winded debate or some big emotional argument. Nope. It's a swift, clean action. You just pull your presence and attention back. The fact that there's no drama is what makes it so incredibly powerful. It screams self-respect louder than any argument ever could. And that brings us to the final piece of the puzzle, the pillar that holds all the others up. It's the internal psychology, the winning mindset. These 3 points are the absolute heart of this mindset. First, being unpredictable, not in a game-playing way, but because your life is actually full and interesting, so she can't predict your every move. Second, refusing to compete. This shows you value yourself more than her validation. And that last one, being willing to lose her, that is the ultimate source of all your power. It's the foundation of real confidence. You see, this isn't a threat, it's not an ultimatum, it's a statement of fact. It's you expressing complete independence from the outcome. That mindset tells her that your happiness and your well-being are not in her hands. And according to the source, there's almost nothing more attractive than that. Okay, so we've got all 4 pillars. Let's pull this all together now and get to the final, overarching truth of this whole philosophy. Now, I need to be absolutely crystal clear on this point. This is not a list of tricks to manipulate someone into liking you. That whole approach is weak, it's inauthentic, and it never works long-term. Instead, what this is really about is a deep internal shift. It's about you prioritizing your own mission, you protecting your own mental peace, and you upholding your own standards, no matter who is or isn't in your life. The attraction? That's just the natural byproduct of that self-respect. It's not the goal. And if you take one thing away from all of this, let it be this. The source argues that at the end of the day, control and deep respect, they just can't exist in the same space. The man who is unshakable, who lives by his own values, that's the man who inspires that fierce loyalty and attraction. And that's really where we have to leave it, because this isn't about memorizing lines or following a script. It's about a genuine internal transformation. The real question is, who are you willing to become? To be that man who is so grounded in his own purpose that the world has no choice but to notice.